All right, I should probably take this off, yeah.
I mean, you could try and do the whole thing with it.
No, it's really, really hot.
Isn't it cool when you put the little fan on?
When I put the fan on, but it's so loud.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll get it picked up. Maybe it won't. Probably will.
Okay, hang on. Let me let it... Listeners, ignore this part. Hi, I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Charlie.
And welcome to Halloween.
Yes. Halloween the day and Halloween the movie.
You're not dressed up.
No, I am dressed up as me.
So,
I think I nailed it.
You did nail it. So in my audio, I'm trying to turn off this little machine.
Mm-hmm. to not get the annoying wheezing sound.
Not get the annoying wheezing sound.
Maybe we'll get it at post, but I promise nothing.
Tell our listeners who you're sitting next to.
I think that they know. Milo doesn't seem to know, right, Milo? But I do. Milo, here, go to the...
I'm sitting next to Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yes. Milo was freaked out. He didn't want to sit here.
Oh, poor buddy. All right, I should probably take this off, yeah.
I mean, you could try and do the whole thing with it.
No, it's really, really hot.
Isn't it cool when you put the little fan on?
When I put the fan on, but it's so loud.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll get it picked up. Maybe it won't. Probably will.
Okay, hang on. Let me let it... Listeners, ignore this part. Does it look awesome?
In order to answer that question, you have to define what awesome is.
I would say this is awesome.
Oh, there you go. Then it does look awesome. What do you think? Do you think it looks awesome?
Okay. I'll come out.
Okay. You have little goggles and everything.
Yes, because this costume was trying to hurt me.
Came out of there.
Hi, baby. Look, it's Mama. Good boy. Okay.
Still have goggles.
So, we'll be right back.
1 second. Okay, are you ready?
To get it off my feet.
Okay.
All right.
It's off the feet. Are we good? Okay, your glasses. Here, man, let's put glasses on you. No? You don't want glasses on you? There you go.
Good job, buddy. So happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
So what are you dressed up as?
As myself.
Yes, as yourself.
Milo's dressed up as a
A welder? A construction worker?
construction worker with his little glasses. Here you go, Milo.
All right, so everybody has pretty fantastic plans today.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to be living it up and dressing up and going to parties.
Yes, and we're going to be talking about a movie.
Talking about Halloween.
Halloween.
From 1978.
78 or 76? I thought it was 76.
So, 1976 was a date in the movie.
No, the movie said 78.
Because it was set in 1976.
Okay.
But initially it was set in 63. And then Michael Myers, as a child, murders people, and then he goes to prison or, psychiatric ward forever. And
Spoiler warnings.
You've seen Halloween.
You've seen Halloween, right? And if you haven't, this is a prime example of how audiences get desensitized.
Yes.
Because I watched this movie, I don't remember I watched it when I was a kid, and I watched it now, and I said, this movie's boring.
Yeah.
This movie is boring. This would not happen again. If this guy tried this today, he would get bullied. People would record him on phones and beat him for the Instagrams.
Right.
Beat him for the TikToks. Look at this old card. You're just trying to scare people.
Right.
They beat him with sticks, and they just record him, laugh at him while they beat him, and then post it on TikTok. That's what would happen if Michael Myers was around today.
Yeah, I mean, some giant tall dude in a mask just standing
Yeah, being a
ominously.
creeper.
Because that's the first part of the half of the movie is
Right?
like he's just stalking
He's just
these
talking.
girls.
I get it for the time, you know, it broke new ground. It was impressive.
Yeah.
But this is a movie kind of like Psycho. It's boring as heck. I find this movie boring.
Yeah.
And the sound effects aren't all that great. I mean the fighting sound effects and the kills. The kills are kind of like, first of all, one of them, they defy physics. That's not how physics works.
Yeah, so when...
And then the other ones, you just I don't get it.
Yeah, so...
Anyway, but let's go through the movie.
Let's go.
Because there's probably a lot of survival tips for this movie.
There's a ton of survival tips, and I disagree with your assessment of the movie. Not
you don't
all
find
the
it
way.
boring?
Well, it was boring in a lot. It really was. But I also understand the tension of feeling like you're being watched, seeing something out of the corner of your eye and going, I don't know if I should freak out or not. When I was a teenager, that was a lot more prevalent than it is now.
Okay.
Because now I know exactly what to do.
Right?
Right? Like now I call the police. Or I would now I would escalate things a lot more quickly. But when I was a teenager, I was so afraid of like not fitting in, or like what if it's, especially because it's Halloween, what if it's somebody who's just trying to creep people out? Like it's almost like this pressure to just think everything's a joke.
Okay.
Even when you're uncomfortable, especially as a woman, I think. Because you want to be accepted.
Yeah.
But
and
man,
the dialogue was weird.
The dialogue
between the quote unquote teenagers.
The teenagers.
Is this how teenagers talked in the late 70s?
Yeah, they were very 1970s stereotypical teenage girl vibe. Okay. And it felt to me, some of it felt real, but some of it I was like, it feels like an old person thinks this is what teenagers do.
Right? It was really cringy.
It was a little cringe.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I loved the gratuitous boobage in this movie.
Yeah, there was
tons.
If you want to watch boobies.
If you want to watch boobies, this is the movie.
Yeah.
It was like, because everything about the teenagers, the vibe that they gave off was very teenager-esque. It was just all fun and like, oh, no consequences. Everything is just awesome and I can just do whatever I want to live forever.
So that makes this movie a little bit creepy. Because, so you're telling me that, okay, in the 70s, what people wanted to see was high school girls' boobs? That's kind of pedophilic.
Well, the way that I see it is, I looked at all of them as they're at least 18. But
well, technically in the movie universe they are not.
But I understand like the time frame.
You tell me they were in their 20s, you know? Middle 20s, 30s. I was like, okay, they're grown-ass women. No. Yeah. But they're depictions of just kids.
But remember, the whole concept is supposed to be teenagers living this sort of free existence that is outside the norm. Yeah, it's supposed to, like, it's, remember, the 1970s came right out, I mean, obviously, right after the 1960s, when free love and the hippie lifestyle was not like, it wasn't like dirty hippie like it is now. It was this idea that you were owning your body and your sexuality, and when you're a teenager, the whole world is your oyster. So it was kind of seen differently then.
Okay.
So
it just feels icky.
What I see, what you're saying, is from the perspective of someone who looks at children responsibly.
So like, I don't look at them responsibly?
No, you do. That's the whole point. The whole point of what you're saying is that this is wrong. It shouldn't be on film. I really respect that. So the characters in this are very typical teenagers. I like the contrast between the teenagers. Like, Lori is clearly a bookworm. Yeah. She dresses like an old lady. Her stockings. Yes, what is going on with these stockings?
Like her stockings were like all the way up here. And those shorts that I thought they were gonna, wear the shorts as necklaces.
Yeah,
because they were
her pants. Really, they're all
really.
It was
there.
1970s
so
high-waisted.
She's tall and she has such long legs. I was like, Jesus, this lady's all pants.
She's all pants.
Pants from top to bottom.
It's so amazing to me that Jamie Lee Curtis. This was her first movie role.
Really?
and it just blew up.
Right? It's like from nothing to stardom.
Right? From nothing to absolute, we created a franchise that you'll be known for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And didn't she do another one
In
this year?
2022.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, wasn't it 2023? I think she did one 2022 and another one this year.
Wow. I mean, I want to see we haven't seen the most recent one. So I'm kind of excited to start the journey here and actually to see some of your comments. How does it progress?
Right? Because I found this movie is like, this movie kind of boring.
Yeah, he's just stalking around.
Now we have to watch like Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Are those boring too? And I just remember them with rose-colored glasses.
Maybe they are
nostalgia goggles.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found Halloween a little boring.
Yeah, it was boring to me because I saw so many avenues where teenagers today wouldn't go through any of that.
No,
they're smarter than that.
right? They'll be like,
you're smarter than that.
Listen, creeper, what do you want?
Yeah.
You creeper. And just with smartphones, that wouldn't be a thing.
Click picture.
Click picture, like AirTag.
Right.
Location. He's right here.
Police app.
Yeah, police app. Listen, he's right here.
They would connect the bulletin.
Like, let's take for the gram. Pagala, picture right there. Everybody knows who he is.
Right? So, survival tip number 1, I would say, if you feel you're being stalked, just contact the authorities and immediately talk about it.
Right? Or not even the authorities, Especially if you have a direct line, because this lady's best friend's father
is a police officer.
He's 5'0". He's the popo.
He's the popo. Like, you could contact him immediately.
Yes.
And by the way, he would have saved Linda.
He would have saved whoever Linda was, which I remember none of the names.
I felt this movie ended way too soon, by the way, too.
Right?
Like, movies...
I felt like, okay, it's getting good. Okay, now let's end it.
Yeah. Like, right when he disappeared, I was like, okay, they're going to continue, right? They're going to go to his house. The police are going to find the bodies.
Nah.
The dad's going to be really upset. They're going to do a manhunt.
Right? No. And it's not really explained if he's supernatural, because we counted. So he gets stabbed in the neck, right?
Stabbed in the neck with a knitting needle.
Right. Which looked like it got an artery, but maybe it didn't. Okay. I think that would, kind of hurt, but okay. He gets stabbed in the eye.
In the eye with a coat hanger.
Yeah, a little metal coat hanger.
Very good of Lori. I mean, she really got him in there.
Then he gets stabbed in the chest.
And
it looked like it went through the heart, but, maybe not. Maybe not. And then he gets shot. 5 times. And then falls off a second story. Like head first.
Yeah.
And he's still alive. So is it supernatural?
Yes. I mean, there's no question in my mind that someone, you know it right from the get-go. In my opinion, I knew he was supernatural the moment that he lifted that guy off of the
and then he impaled him.
Then he paled him.
And
he stuck to cupboard doors.
To his flimsy doors. And then he impaled him like below his belly button.
Right.
And then the body just stayed. That's not how physics works. And when he let it go, that guy would have just flopped forward, and it would be a mess. There would be blood everywhere, and the door would be ruined.
Yeah.
But
he wouldn't do that. I mean, and do you know how difficult it is to lift from this position, even just 30 pounds, 50 pounds?
No, you won't be able to do it. Grab a 45 plate, right? And then just do a front raise.
Just grab a 50-pound dog bag.
Yeah, and do a front raise.
And try to do this.
I guarantee you, listeners,
there's no way you can do it.
You will not be able to do that.
Yeah. That's a lot. And he actually didn't do this. He did it this way.
Right.
Which then you're even just engaging this muscle.
Yeah, but maybe he was using, the wall. But it wasn't a wall. It was doors.
He could have pushed against the wall, I guess, and used the
but
leverage.
It was doors.
But
the doors would have flapped.
And he didn't do this.
No.
He did this.
Yeah, just like
that.
So
that means that the tension is right here on the end of his hand.
Yeah,
right?
And he's just going there.
And he's just going up.
He clearly doesn't suffer from any, tendon issues.
Oh my God,
He doesn't have tennis elbow, because with tennis elbow, you won't be able to do none of that, because it's going to hurt like a motherfucker.
Right.
You're going to be like, my elbow, listen, wait right here while I cure my elbow, and then I can stab you.
I know. He didn't get any of those shots in his shoulder. He doesn't have carpal tunnel.
But it makes sense, because since he was 8 years old, he was stuck in this loony bin, right?
And the only thing to do must be to work out.
Doing nothing.
Yeah.
And he didn't look like he worked out. He looked like a skinny person.
I mean, maybe. So let's just assume that Michael Myers is supernatural.
Okay.
He has, like, let's just all take that stance. If we don't take that stance, that Michael Myers is just a normal guy,
Right.
every single movie, we're just going to be overwhelmed with the disappointment
Right.
of
That's
the
not real.
physics.
Right. That's not real. That's not how none of this works. That's not how real life works.
Yeah, so there's something that we have to do when we're doing this podcast and we're watching these movies. It's called suspension of disbelief, where in order for us
in this one, you got to suspend a lot.
a lot. In order for us to really come up with strategies for your survival and for our survival, you have to first assume that what you're watching is dangerous, scary, and could hurt you. And, like, that's sometimes really tough because I'm like, that can't happen.
Right.
Like, when we did Last Voyage of the Demeter, I'm not going to spoil it, I'm just going to talk about one part where a guy tries to break through a door. In real life, there's no way he would ever break through a door with the implement that he was using, ever.
Especially a door from that
era.
On a ship.
On a ship.
Which they weren't made out of cardboard like
They were made
today's
out
doors.
of solid wood.
I mean, doors in the United States, they're made out of cardboard.
Right. But that door, there's no way. There's no way he would have gotten
Would
through.
have broken his face in.
Right? And so at the time when I was talking about that scene, I had a really hard time because I was like, you know, I guess realistically, you're set because he's not breaking through anyway.
Right, right.
It's
But then you can't have a plot if that happens.
But then we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah,
We're like,
yeah.
just do nothing.
So in this one, okay, we just have to suspend the disbelief that
Right.
he is the only person in this universe who is supernatural,
Right.
immortal.
He's the only person who has whatever this is. But it makes sense, actually, with the plot of the movie.
Yeah, but that would make sense if, but the movie starts when you look at him, with him as a child, you're watching through his eyes.
Yeah.
So he's just
I love
a kid.
that, by the way. That was really cool.
That was pretty cool. But he's just a kid.
He is.
And I like that scene mirrored the scene in Psycho.
It did. It really did.
Okay.
And that was actually, there are two movies that were inspiration for this. One of them was Psycho.
Okay.
And the other one was Bob Clark's Black Christmas from 1974, which was just a few years beforehand.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie.
I haven't either.
Black Christmas.
But supposedly those two films were the inspiration for the creation of this. But the setting, the characters, just the nature of the evil and how they shot it was what really made it iconic.
Yeah. I feel like in this movie, none of this would have happened if everybody was aware of their surroundings.
Right?
That would have just, everything would be okay.
He would have been back in the loony bin before anyone knew what was happening.
Right? The asylum. Isn't the loony bin like a derogatory term?
Yeah, but it's fun.
Okay, loony bin it is. Anyways, like in one scene, the doctor that's looking for him. I don't know why. I don't know why there's no detective. There's just the doctor from the asylum that's looking for him. So he's right behind them in broad daylight, and nobody notices. He told the cops no description of this car.
Right.
He's the
No
only one that
license
knows the
plate.
car. No license plate. Nobody's looking for it. Was that how it was in the 70s?
They
People
also-
could just steal your car and then you could just do stuff?
I guess so. And here's the other thing. They were at a crime scene at a Halloween costume store at that moment, and a guy drives by
With
in
a
a Halloween
Halloween
mask
mask.
on that was the description of the mask that was taken.
But, like, he's right there.
Like 50 cops or
You-
whatever can't...
Yeah, you buffoons.
Right?
You idiots.
Like, Jesus. Now, something that I loved about this movie, I actually loved the idiocy of the characters.
Yeah?
Everybody was so blissfully unaware
Right.
for almost 90% of the film. They were just living their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only one that was like, listen, this is important was the doctor.
And the little boy.
And yeah, the little
Tommy.
boy, the little boy saw, listen, the boogeyman is right there.
He's
It's like,
right
"There's
there."
no boogeyman. Shut up.
I felt like they were
but
trying...
nobody listens to kids. Remember,
Nobody
that's one of the
listens to kids.
rules.
That's one of
You
the
gotta-
rules.
You gotta listen to kids.
So they actually talked about another rule in this film that we haven't even talked about.
Oh, which rule?
We
was
haven't
that?
created it as an official rule, but I know you're going to be on board with this.
Okay.
The official rule for survival of any horror movie, if you go into a room, you immediately turn the light on.
Right? Yeah.
Solved.
Yeah. It's like, why are you walking with the lights off? That's not a
Just turn
thing.
the lights on.
Just turn the lights on.
Yeah.
That way you can see everything. There's
You
no
know what's
dark,
going.
you know?
No one's going to hide in a corner.
Right? There's a light.
Yeah. But something that the doctor kept saying is he's just pure evil. And they don't really expand on that explanation much.
Right. The funny thing is that in that first scene, when you see it through his eyes, and he kills
His sister.
his sister, right, and then he comes outside, two adult, persons come out of a car. You don't know who they are, but
We assume they're his parents.
right? We're assuming a lot because the lady sees if she's the mother, right? She did not scream. She just puts her hands on her waist and looks at him like
what are you?
I am so disappointed. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette.
Right? That's what she looks like. And like her son has just come out in a clown costume with a bloody knife. I would be extremely worried about my child.
Like, what have you done now? I am disappointed.
Right?
I am sorry I ever had you. That was the look in her face.
That was the look in her face.
She didn't say anything. She didn't scream. She said nothing.
Yeah, and I don't know if the parents come into play in other movies in the future, but I wish that they had the characters of Michael Myers' parents.
In this one.
In this one. It would have made it really much more interesting, I think.
Okay.
The doctor, he could have been taken two ways. Like, it could potentially be that he has a vendetta against this patient who for some reason was put away when maybe they assessed that he was a psychopath immediately, but it's not easy to put children in a psych ward for like
mental institution
13 years
for the rest of their lives, just looking at a wall.
Right. Like that.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't think that's easy.
I
feel
no
like
idea.
They would reassess him all the time. And if this one doctor for 13 years kept saying he's evil, like every single time.
Hey, if there's anybody in the mental health profession that is listening, let us know.
I would like to know.
Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing.
And the other thing I'm curious about, so Michael Myers was what, like 8? I guess maybe 6 or 8 when he murdered his sister?
Yeah.
Was he a psychopath before that? Did he never speak?
Did he kill animals?
Right. Like, was this just, he was a normal child and then this one evening, maybe
on Halloween?
Yeah. I would like to see more of the origin of Michael Myers in terms of how did he become evil? And I don't know, maybe they go into it in the other movies and we've totally forgotten. Because what I've read, they have a couple of different backstories. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know that there's movies from Rob Zombie, the one from that band.
Yeah.
But the one director of House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's
I've heard that that's a really good one.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think I saw it, but I don't remember nothing of it.
Halloween. Oh, wouldn't it be funny if it was called Halloween 2000?
Is there a Halloween 2000?
I don't know, but it seems like there could, because I remember he was in space at some point, or somebody was in space.
That wasn't Michael Myers. That was Jason Voorhees.
Oh, well.
Yes.
A machete versus a knife, a hockey mask versus a Star Trek.
Versus Star Trek with no eyes, Captain Kirk.
I'm so sorry, horror fans. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Horror fans, this movie was boring.
No! They're going to hate us. They're going to
I don't care.
Listen,
I think it's boring.
Don't come for us.
I think it was boring. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting that there were so many different points when you can do good survival. The first one being, so I grew up in a town, in a street very similar to the setting of these murders. A community that had houses that were right next to each other.
$1 million houses.
Well,
right.
They weren't $1 million at the time.
At the time, it's like, oh yeah, this is like a $10,000 house. Right now, you go to downtown Tampa, and those houses are like $1 million houses.
I know, it's
like,
gotten crazy. I wish that we'd stayed. We would have had millions of
$1 million houses.
$1 million houses. So anyway, so that community is very close. The streets are very small. They're cobblestone. It's really nice. But I think from a survival perspective, you do babysit kids like right next door to each other or right across the street. It's pretty common.
Okay.
Where parents go out all on a Saturday night or on a Halloween.
It's all alien to me.
Well, in Puerto Rico, it's probably a little different.
I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I've never babysat in Owen.
I guess. Did you ever get babysat?
You just get left alone.
What?
Do your stuff. Yeah. You're 9. You're old enough. You're old enough not to, to know not to, set the house on fire. You're good.
It's true.
You know where the food is. You can use a microwave.
And the entire house is cement and
Yeah.
has like metal
Cement
shutters.
and rebar.
Michael
what are you
Myers
gonna
is
do?
not getting in that
Exactly.
house.
He's not getting in that house. You know, solid wood doors. He ain't getting nowhere.
He's not getting anywhere.
No.
So you're safe. And it's such a difference.
He just gets left in the house. What do you mean?
Left you.
Paying people to look after you? No. You know, you got a brother. He's 2 years older. He takes care of you.
All right.
You know?
Well, there you go.
There you go. That's how it is.
So I used to have this situation a lot. And from a survival standpoint, the babysitters used to kind of coordinate schedules on when would we come over to each other's houses, when would we check in with the parents, when would we...
Sounds like a lot of work.
It's not a lot of work.
It sounds like it's easier to just leave him.
What?
Just
No.
leave him in the house, you know? Just put the sharp tools away. Just leave him. You know, give him microwavable food. There you go. This goes here. 2 minutes done. Don't put metal in it. Good luck.
My goodness.
You know?
Well,
And if they're alive when you get back, happy surprise. You can do it again.
happy surprise.
Happy
Your
surprise.
children are alive.
You can do it again.
Okay, so
I'm giving you gold here, people.
I think from a survival standpoint, if you are a babysitter, I think that you need, and you have other babysitters you're talking with, I don't think you should just do it willy-nilly. I think you should have a coordinated plan.
Listen, this is in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't the Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds also in the 70s, or was that the 60s? Because in that movie, they tried a babysitter once, and then they just left them alone.
Well, because that babysitter was awful.
And then what did they do? The big one looked after the little one. That's what it was. That's what happened. I distinctly remember. There was no issues. You know, no police were called.
I'm going to look this up.
Okay, pause.
1974.
Resume.
It was in 1974,
Well,
which was just a couple of years
before, and it was fine, a small town. And that was a mansion in the middle of probably nowhere. With the houses were farther away.
Yeah,
This is just it's just houses right, next to each other.
that's true. I also love that they really introduced a lot of the common tropes that we've talked about in the past.
Right.
Of no drugs, no drinking, no sex. Right. Otherwise, you're gonna
First of all, you had sex, you're dead.
Right, you're dead.
You drink, you're dead.
Right.
You smoke, you're dead.
Yeah.
You don't turn on the lights, you're dead.
I feel like they didn't lock the doors enough in any of these situations.
You don't lock the doors, you're dead. This movie, you're dead in every shape, way, or form.
So if you were going to babysit kids in a neighborhood, what would be some safety precautions that you would take from a killer like Michael Myers?
From the killer, or for the kids to be safe? Just the kids to be safe is just don't do drugs.
Well,
you're good.
From Michael, I mean, what are safety precautions that you would use in order to survive?
Just lock the doors. And, stay in your room, lock the doors, play video games, and, be happy.
There were a lot of French doors in this movie.
Right.
French doors are doors that have windows all from top to bottom.
The contractor who built all these houses, like, what's new? You know what's hip? French doors.
French doors. We love French doors.
Yeah,
we want glass everywhere.
Everywhere.
And now I love me a good French door. All right. They're gorgeous. They're real pretty. But they are also very dangerous. And maybe you are a kind
because of the type of glass that they use?
Maybe you're the type of person, sort of, but maybe you're the type of person that doesn't want to live your life thinking about the worst case scenario. But I am not like that. Okay. I love French doors, but I only put them onto exterior, say, a lanai, or there's something called a Florida room. That's a room that's outside your house, but then there's another regular door that leads to your home.
Did it originate in Florida?
It did. And now that room is more like a solarium, or it's like an enclosed lanai. And you can put French doors on those, but you never put French doors to the interior of your home. Because, in my opinion, it's too dangerous. Now, this kind of is a slippery slope, too. Because if you're really worried about that kind of stuff, what are you going to do with windows?
Right. You just put bars on them.
I don't like that. It's not pretty.
No, but who cares?
I care. It's
Safety
my house.
over prettiness.
No.
Yeah.
Must be pretty.
That's why white ladies die.
Remember in that movie, The Invitation in 2015?
Yes, The Invitation.
The Invitation of 2015.
They had bars on all the windows.
But they were pretty bars on all the windows.
Then you put pretty bars on the windows.
No, I would never do that.
Okay, but they're pretty.
What I do like is, what if you had interior metal shutters?
Michael Myers would have never gotten into that house.
Right? Michael Myers could never get into the house from The Invitation.
Freak him out from the outside.
Right?
Nothing more.
You could just be like, nah, nah, nah,
right? Like, what you gonna do? You got a knife. I got a gun. Bam, you're dead. You know? Or no,
right?
Because
through
he's
the
magic.
shutters.
Right?
He's magic.
You could shoot the windows through the metal bars and shoot him, and he still can't do anything.
Yeah. I feel that going up against Michael Myers, because we don't have any more information than the first movie, it's truly about going up against a regular slasher that you just don't have enough information. Right. So doors and bars and windows and stuff, and just regular self-defense might work. Yeah. Now, in the second or third or fourth movie, once we realize, oh my God, he's been stabbed and shot and poked in the face.
Burnt. Electrocuted.
Nothing seems to happen.
Right.
Maybe maybe we start to come up with more.
Maybe he is magic.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe he is evil.
Maybe he did some, magical evil stuff when he was put away.
Before, when he was a kid.
Yeah, but when he was a kid, he just stabbed someone. They didn't try. His mom didn't even slap him. She just left him with the knife. She asked no questions. I tell you, she was ready to go for her cigarette.
Well, I think that Michael Myers, what became evil... I mean, here's my theory that I just created all by myself. I think Michael Myers became evil the evening before.
The evening before?
Before he murdered his sister.
In Halloween? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that happened.
He killed her because he was a fornicator.
Yes,
that is why. He's like, oh, look at this fornicator.
It's interesting that you say that. I read an article that was from a movie historian or one of those people that's real fancy that does movie reviews, and he said that he felt like the entire movie was a metaphor for men's sexual frustration and women's sexual desires that are unfulfilled. That every single killing was some form of either Oedipus or sexual thing.
I think this guy was just looking too much into this.
I know. And then John Carpenter, who wrote, directed, and did the whole movie, was like,
no.
You're not. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. What are you talking about?
It has nothing to do with what I'm
saying. They just get killed because that's the rule. They're fornicators. Therefore they die.
Which he invented that rule,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, this was the first. So I think it's interesting. He said, I just thought that's what teenagers did.
Teenagers watch fornicators and they murder them.
Well, no, teenagers are the fornicators.
Oh, the fornicators. Okay.
Yeah, evil is the ones that kill them.
Okay, yeah. Just don't be a fornicator.
Well, it's interesting. I don't remember being a teenager and being anything like these people.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah.
We would have been safe.
We would have been super safe.
Right? We would have been safe. We would have been like, let me just close
that door, close that metal shutter.
Yeah, you're outside. You can't do nothing.
Right? So, in terms of survival, so now that Michael Myers has started to kill people,
right?
Laurie makes a critical error.
Which he killed her friend in the weirdest way. He just grabbed her neck. I feel like she could have gotten loose from that grip very easily. And how she does it. I was like, watching the movie, I was like, Jesus, and the Oscar goes too.
I know. Well, I, in those moments, go, I guess he's magic.
Other than the doctor, right? And the main character.
Michael Myers?
No, not Michael Myers.
Laurie.
Laurie. Other than those two actors, because him I've seen in something else. Any of the other actors, have they been in other things that are quasi-popular, famous?
Not that I know of.
Right? Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to have to look into that.
We're going to have to look into that. So, once she realizes that something is going on, so one of her friends actually calls her on the phone while she's dying.
Right? But then they made the sounds look like she was fornicating.
Yeah, everybody who died pretty much made sex noises.
Right? For some weird reason.
It was really odd. I can sort of see how the film critic was like, this has to do with sex. Because when I was listening to it, I'm like, this is not screaming bloody murder, screaming like you're dying.
Yeah.
This is like 1970s funny.
Right? I don't think John Carpenter ever went to a war. Did he?
I doubt
Did
it.
he go to Vietnam? Or?
He was born in, I think, 1947.
Okay.
So he
It
must
was way past the second.
Yeah.
Vietnam was a thing, right?
Yeah, he must have been in something. I don't know. We'll have to look into
Because
John
I think
Carpenter.
I think I read once. I could be wrong here, so take it with a grain of salt. Tom Savini, which is the special effects artist from Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all these movies. He said one interview, I believe, that he said the way he knows he can depict gore so much is because that's what he learned when he was in the war.
Yeah, when he was talking about that, he described the natural form of the muscle and how blood vessels go into it, and that's sort of how he ended up depicting all of his special effects moving forward. And he reshaped the way that special effects were really done.
Yeah, because in this movie there isn't a lot.
There's almost no blood.
Yeah, there is no blood. She gets cut, and then all you see is a little streak.
Yeah.
And even if you cut yourself, that's not how it works. But okay. And then when she stabbed him, he doesn't bleed.
He doesn't. Yeah, there's no blood.
Yeah.
This movie was very devoid of gore and horrific images, which was, I think, a very smart choice because it didn't detract from the suspense. This movie is so much about the tension.
Yeah, I can see how in the time this could have been seen as Jesus, that part where she's on the door, and she's in the front of the door, and then he just, rises up.
Yeah.
All she had to do was look back.
Right?
Or not, or every single time. I think this could be a survival thing. Every single time she gets the knife, he just throws it right beside him.
Right beside him.
I'm gonna put it right here on your hand so you can use it later.
Right? I don't. Okay, if someone is trying to kill you, like really trying to kill you, like Michael Myers.
Yeah, and she stabbed him and he's down.
Right. He's not down.
You need to go berserker mode.
You need to go berserker mode.
Double
and
tap,
you need
berserker
to,
mode.
Not
yeah.
double tap, 500 tap.
Yeah, I mean with a knife, the pointy end, and just stick it.
You need to use that knife until it's boring.
Right? Until it breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then get a different one and use it again.
Yeah, I mean this guy is trying to kill you.
Right.
Though it's interesting that that's the survival tip that we have, but ironically, with the magic of Michael Myers, he would have ended up killing her if she did that.
Think?
Yeah, because he would have risen up while she was trying to kill him.
I mean, I find that hard to believe in this movie that was part, because first you see him as a kid, and at one point, she takes his mask off. He's just a dude.
Yeah.
It's just a normal dude, which he does a weird face, go like,
I thought he looked like the guy from Clue.
The guy from Clue?
Yeah.
Which one?
I forgot his name. Paul Bennett? Bettany? Paul Bettany?
I don't know. I don't know which guy from Clue.
The main guy, the butler.
The one from Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yes. What's his name?
I don't know his name.
I feel like you can tell a lot of people by what they know Tim Curry from.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. I felt like he looked a lot like Tim Curry.
Yeah? I don't know. I don't know.
So, I felt like Michael Myers looked like Tim Curry. As far as I know, Tim Curry was not in this movie.
No, he was not.
He might have been pretty big at that point.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wouldn't it be funny if Tim Curry actually played Michael Myers for like a brief period of time because he was just bored?
That makes no sense.
Listen, it makes sense a little bit in my head.
Okay.
All right, just rewatch that one scene and fast forward it, and you'll
When
see
he
a
does
little
that
Tim.
weird thing
Right,
with
you'll
his
see a
face.
Tim Curry.
It's like, did they not have makeup? Just put, some grody makeup on him. No. Just go like, huh?
He's just a dude.
Huh? It makes no sense.
All right, so the next survival tip that we've got has got to be from the perspective of Lori, or not Lori, what's her name? Layla? The lady who has sexy time with her boyfriend in the bedroom.
Yes, of her friend's parents.
Of her friend's parents' house. Okay, first of all, don't do that. All right? That's not cool.
That is
Secondly,
not cool. And then you start smoking in the house.
Jesus.
That's going to stink.
That's awful.
Get a vape.
Yeah. Secondly, if you showed up at a doorway with a sheet on, with glasses on over the sheet, right? Let's, even though if those were your glasses, I would be very creeped out.
Yeah.
And suspicious. I don't think that that's a good, I think she should have been more suspicious more quickly.
And in this part, we talked about it. So they go through all the parts that they were not just going to be dead once. They're going to be dead like 4 times.
Yeah.
So they fornicated.
Yes, they
So they're
fornicated.
dead. After fornicated, they wanted alcohol, beer.
They smoked
2.
And they had
they
beer
smoked
beforehand.
3.
Yeah.
So, and then he said, I'll be right back. So that's
Right?
4. And then he goes out and he doesn't turn on the lights. So he does all of them.
He does all the bad things.
He basically says, I want to die before I leave this room.
Right?
That's what he said.
Yeah. He leaves the room. He doesn't turn on the light. They smoke and they drink all the time, and they've just had sex.
They just have the fornication.
My goodness. And they're not paying any attention to anything.
To nothing.
They don't lock the doors.
Right.
They don't do anything.
And they don't scream.
Yes.
The guy, somebody grabs him, he doesn't scream. Well, I guess maybe because he was being choked.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can scream if I'm being choked.
I don't think so. If someone really big is choking you, you can't speak.
Yeah, but with their hands, not with their, not with their elbow, no, with their hand.
No, you can't. You can't.
Poke him in the eye or something.
Have you ever been choked?
I don't know.
Like really choked by someone who
Bigger
was trying
than me?
to hurt you? Yeah. Bigger than you.
Must be pretty big.
I know.
He must be a footballer or something.
You're a big guy.
Just so everybody knows, I am 6'1" and I weigh 284 pounds. So that somebody bigger than me can choke me. I need to go to a basketball game, buy courtside seats, and then harass some of the players to the point where not security, not anybody, the player itself comes up to me and then chokes me out.
Right?
Yes.
And doesn't hit you because you want him to choke you.
Yeah. And then I try and scream.
Well, there's an alternate way of doing that. You could just ask them to choke you.
Oh, yes.
That would go over.
Let's go on Twitter, right? Or any social media. Hey, Daddy, could you choke me, please?
Oh, my God.
Right? That is what I want, yeah?
I think it would be even creepier if you told them the truth.
You're right.
You're like,
hey, can you choke me,
Can
please?
you choke me? Because
I just want to scream.
I just want to see if I'm able to scream.
Scream
experiment.
while you choke me. It's not a sexual thing.
It's not a sexy
Right?
thing. Literally, it's for our podcast.
Yeah, this is for our podcast. That's what I want.
Okay.
Just, and then when they're doing it, harder, so they can choke me harder.
Oh my God. All right. So let's safe to say that you've never had this experience.
Yes.
But when you're being choked, you cannot speak. You cannot breathe.
Okay.
You have mere seconds of moving your body.
5 seconds to 10 if it's really deep.
Yeah, and there's a strong likelihood that blood vessels are being actively popped and destroyed in your brain. So you also don't really have the wherewithal to know exactly what you should do, even if you've thought about it beforehand. Oftentimes, when you're choked, you're a smaller person, and your body does get lift off. So you're also shocked that this is happening. And sometimes, if they're really horrible, they slam your head against the ground, which further, it just exacerbates everything and breaks everything. So if you are being really choked by someone, there's almost nothing. I mean, you have seconds.
You're shit out of luck.
You're shit out of luck. There's some things that you can do, but if it doesn't work once, that's it. So I just think that makes sense if she's being choked, or if the telephone one was really pitiful. That was so pitiful. And there's not even around her neck. I know,
what are you doing? You can say, listen, I'm being choked, something is happening. No, but she's like,
it was a terrible noise.
Harder, Daddy.
No, please don't say that. We're going gonna get banned.
Right? Just don't make a short out of it.
I know. Yeah, we can't say these things in shorts.
Yeah. They'll have 0 views.
Well, 0 views.
Right?
So, just from a survival standpoint, like, I guess take a self-defense class.
Yeah.
You really need to have some.
But not the jinsu. That is the topic for a different episode.
Anyway, I would recommend that, you take some self-defense courses, but also just be smart,
Yeah.
And if you're up against some supernatural demon that is a knife-wielding, mask-wearing, crazy man, why can't you, instead of going across the street to investigate it yourself, call the police?
Which you have a direct line because your friends...
You're going to check on your friend whose father is a cop.
Right? They never followed that story.
They never followed that story up again.
We never saw the cop where he found his daughter with her friends brutally murdered in his house.
Right?
I was just ignored.
I really wish that had been a thing.
Right?
They just cut it off.
Okay, so he's gone. Fade to black.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
This movie was kind of boring. I don't really. I looked at myself watching my phone more than I did watching this movie.
As wonderful and iconic as this movie is, and as much as we appreciate the history and what it brought to us from a horror perspective, I feel like
it's a movie for the time.
It's a movie for the time, but we need to watch 2, 3, 4, 5
right
and just
now,
see.
If right now a movie came out just like this one,
people would make fun of it.
Yeah, but it would make no money.
It would make nothing.
It would be trash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's a movie of its time. You have to watch it with the context of when it came out, not necessarily as, oh my God, this is the best horror movie ever, because it's really not.
This is the kind of horror movie that you watch now when you're feeling sick and you want some chicken noodle soup and you just want to watch a horror movie.
Right? Yeah.
This is a good one for just nostalgia.
It's completely different than When Evil Lurks.
Oh my God. Yes.
When Evil Lurks is like existential dread.
Horrendous.
There is no hope. Why is this a thing?
Yeah.
This universe it's meaningless to continue on existing in this universe.
Well, one of the great things about slasher movies is just what this podcast was created for.
Yeah,
it's an opportunity to use your both survival skills and your investigative skills to figure out how to defeat the person.
But let's go through the survival tips, because we've just talked about them, thrown them out, but not really told them. First of all, I would say, if you have the upper hand, don't put the knife next to the intruder.
Right.
Or the gun or the weapon. It's like, and just throw it right where he can catch it.
Keep that weapon.
And not only that, just left him in the room.
So she put the knife down, the killer's right there, and she runs away.
Right.
Not even
checking to see if
she doesn't see it. She doesn't check his pulse.
Right.
She doesn't check anything.
She just, grab a boulder or something and just smack him in the head.
Yeah. So that's number 1. Keep the weapon.
Yeah. Keep the weapon and double check that the person is a 2-for-1. See?
Yeah. Double tap. Number 2. Turn on lights when you walk into the room.
Right.
Always.
Right.
Every single time. I don't care if you're worried about your electric bill. You can go do a quick doot doot. And just check. Yeah. And then you can turn it off if you want.
And I'm not going to say don't be a fornicator, because I think that's from, pre-70s.
Yeah, whoa.
You can be a fornicator.
You can be a fornicator.
And you will be pretty
survive.
fine. Yeah.
But if you are a fornicator.
Yes.
Lock the doors.
Lock the door. Do your fornication with the doors locked.
Yes.
Yes.
Check your location.
Yeah.
Make sure that if you need things like snacks or drinks or something, that you get them beforehand.
Right. You have them right next to you.
Have them right next to you.
Fornicate all you want, and then, turn on the lights if you're going out.
Yes, and I would recommend that you not fornicate in your friend's parents' bedroom.
Yeah, that's kind of gross.
That's rude, that's mean, and it's disgusting.
Right? Who's going to clean the sheets? And then smoke, and then throw all the cigarette everywhere.
Yeah, that was not okay.
And if they have carpets, they're never going to get rid of that smell. That smell.
Yeah, that smell will linger forever.
Yeah, it will.
So that's not rude. No, that's not nice. Okay, the third thing. All right? If You are going to babysit.
Okay.
Be sure
Yes.
that you have a plan to check in with either the parents or another babysitter or something. I would just recommend that.
I think that would be a much easier today with smartphones and communication and all that good
yes,
stuff.
so it's probably easier now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your tip?
Fornicate.
Do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Do it often.
Yeah. Unless you're underage. Don't do it.
Right, don't do it if you're underage.
Yes.
So we would love to hear what you thought of this movie and your tips and tricks for survival.
Do you think we're wrong or I'm wrong that I think it's boring? I think this is a boring movie.
Did you feel the tension or did you feel the blah?
Yeah. It's so weird because, this movie is held in such a high regard, but I think it's all, nostalgia goggles.
I think it's held in high regard because of the history because of what it brought us.
Okay.
And I also think that it's more when people talk about Halloween, they don't even talk about the first one. I think they mostly talk about
the ones that came after
the franchise, and then I think they also talk about the iconic scenes within this movie, but not even the movie itself. Right? Like it's mostly Laurie running up the stairs, Michael Myers, sitting up in the bedroom.
Yeah,
no one really talks about the movie itself.
Yeah, and slashers that are like right now, current slashers. The most recent slashers that I can remember is the one from Totally Killers. Then there's Happy Death Day. That was a slasher.
Yes. And that was really fun. They put a twist on it.
Yeah, it was also kind of like a timey-wimey twist on it. And I'm excited to see that new slasher that's coming out, that it's about Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes. It's just called Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That one sounds really good.
He has a cool mask. It's the new, slasher intellectual property.
Yes.
Hopefully every year we'll get one of those.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. And it would be nice to compare that one to Michael Myers slasher. That
would be really cool. And I love that all of these movies have elements of Michael Myers in them, but they're not, they didn't carry over anything that we're like, that's not great from Michael Myers. They don't have teen boobs anymore.
They don't?
Nope.
No.
Not in any new modern, because they're teenagers.
Right?
Like, that's not okay.
You shouldn't be wanting to see 15 and 16-year-olds naked.
Right? That's not normal.
If that's you, you're a pedo.
Yeah, that's not okay. You need to seek professional help.
Yes, you do.
Now I don't think anyone has seen this trailer. This is an interesting sentence I'm about to say.
Okay, let's see.
So, in the movie When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks. Cuando acecha la maldad.
Yes. There was a trailer for a horror movie that's coming out in 2024 called Imaginary.
Okay.
But there's no trailer for Imaginary. What they did is they asked the audience to close their eyes.
Okay.
And then they described something horrible or something. And I don't know exactly what they described.
Oh, that's interesting.
But
that means for everybody, the movie is different.
Yes. And I wonder how that's going to go. I don't know what kind of movie that's going to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, movies are visual medium. And I don't know how that's going to happen because that's just called an audiobook.
Yeah. They're just going to, this movie is an audiobook. And you imagine it in your head.
Right. And you have to pay for a movie ticket.
The cheapest production of a movie. Just give a guy a script and read it.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be really cool, though.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah.
So this has been our Outsmarting the Shadows presentation of the entirety of October.
Yes, this is the final day. So our next movie is going to be in a couple of days on Sunday, so it comes out on Monday. So,
yes.
Maybe we'll do Poltergeist for that one.
Yeah, maybe we will. We will not be doing a podcast every day from now on. We'll be doing one once a week.
Or if, special movie comes out, like Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We gotta watch Thanksgiving when it comes out.
If there's a special event.
Hopefully it comes out in Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I personally would like to expand this podcast to include some other genres for survival.
Okay. Like Alive, like being left alone in the wilderness.
Well, that's a series that's a reality series. I don't think that would really work.
Isn't that a movie? Wasn't that a movie about people that crashed in a plane in the tundra and then they had to eat each other?
Yes, but that's like that's a movie about survival. That's not necessarily what I mean.
Okay,
what I mean is surviving situations that are not strictly in horror movies, but are in other genres.
Oh, we should do one about surviving the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Exactly.
You're just a normal guy.
You're just a normal
and
dude.
These assholes are just destroying everything.
Right?
They
What do you
destroyed
do?
your house, and now you don't have a house. Who pays for your house? I guarantee you, there's the grift
Insurance.
of the. I'm pretty sure there's such a grift in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where insurances have a clause that says if your house is destroyed by
a superhero event,
or a superhero event or a superhero villain. You're
We're
shit
not
out of
covered.
luck.
You're not covered.
You're not covered, and nobody's going to give you any money.
Yeah. So what I would like to go through is situations where we play just ordinary characters trapped in certain situations in movies or series that just require survival and resourcefulness.
Yeah.
And that is something that we're going to cover in the future because we don't just outsmart horror shadows. We outsmart all kinds of shadows here.
All the shadows.
All the
there
shadows.
You go.
So we're going to explore
some ideas for the future.
Yes, we're going to explore that a little bit more. This podcast has been, I think, for us, kind of an experiment too. We wanted to see how good could we get at talking about the things that we love, which we don't just love horror movies. We love all kinds of stuff, but we wanted to start with something that was very specific. So in this episode,
you're talking like this is the end. Last episode.
Well, it's not the last episode,
okay.
But it is the last episode of an incredible season. I mean, we've devoted 24 hours of our lives to this for the last month.
Yes.
So
we do it again next year.
Maybe.
Oh, we will. We just started a thing. That's a yearly event. A horror movie a day, every day, for a month.
That's a lot.
Yeah. We know exactly what it is now.
We do know exactly what it is. So I would love to hear from you, our audience, our viewers, the people who have really enjoyed this podcast, and let us know what you think.
Yes.
You can leave us a comment at outsmartingtheshadows@gmail.com. We look at that email every day. We also would appreciate it if you go to our YouTube channel if you're watching this and leave us a comment down below about anything that you've heard and give us suggestions. We also love to hear survival tips from you. And thank you so much for joining us on this October journey. I hope that you have a safe Halloween. Remember to be vigilant, be safe, and be the last one standing.
Always.